What is up, studs? Welcome to Ask MandR episode 349, and last week I did an oopsie. I forgot to put the number of the episode in the thumbnail for the first time in like 7 years of making this series on YouTube. I saw a few people say they were thrown off in the comments. Hopefully by the time this video is up, it's fixed, but yeah, I just can't believe I did that. Now, if you guys have a question or topic for next week's episode, please drop in the comments section below. As always, hit the like button while you're there. Let's get into it with our first question from Joe Boo, who says, is there a particular Lego piece that you hate having to use in a set for whatever reason? I got a banger answer for you. You're not gonna see it coming. The brick separator. Why would I hate having to use this? Because it means I made a mistake. So yeah, that's my answer. I know you probably wish I had like a real good answer, but this was a real good answer. The worst part is I usually don't even like keep it around. So by the time I need it, I don't even know where it is, and I don't keep them like. There's otherwise probably not an easily accessible brick separator in this room. I just happen to have this one from the U-Wing, which by the way, I added to my MIDI scale display, and it's kind of scary that it fits in very well with MIDI scale sets. But yeah, I like the question. That was creative. Sam says, do you think Lego Star Wars will start a bust line in 2026 to replace helmets similar to what Marvel has done with the Mark IV Iron Man bust? And I think there was another one. Yeah, Spider-Man here. So I don't think Lego Star Wars will get busts, at least not immediately in 2026. I still look at the helmet collection as viable, and I think what they have with Lego Star Wars is much stronger than what they've had with Lego Marvel. Obviously, it's very much on the table though, and I could be wrong, but I don't look at these at $60 and think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I would rather pay $70 for a helmet set than $60 for one of these. The value is not there for me at 60. 40, maybe, but 60 feels crazy. They do include a figure in each of them, so that's nice. I know that's something that a lot of fans want out of helmet sets and MIDI scale sets. And so I think if Lego Star Wars went and made some busts, they would also get minifigs, which would probably make a lot of people excited. The downside I see to it is most of the busts that they would make would be things like Darth Vader or Stormtrooper, just common things. And so you're going to get common figures that we've already had, just rehashes. So I don't see a lot of value in that unless they were making like really cool niche busts like Commander Cody or Captain Rex, you know, figures that you would want at a $60 price that you otherwise don't usually get at a $60 price. I guess Captain Rex is an exception to that, but you get the point. If it's like Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, we've had a Darth Vader bust before back in 2019, albeit the design of it is way different than these busts, so it would be a completely different design, which would be interesting, I guess. But could they do a Darth Vader face at that size? I would argue probably not very well, because the Darth Vader head in the 2019 bust is way bigger than these look to me, so that'll be interesting actually. I might have to buy one of these to compare to the Star Wars ones. There's the Darth Vader and the Sith Trooper from 2019, so yeah, busts, interesting, certainly, but for Star Wars, I kind of hope not. I'm just not that interested. But then again, at some point, they might run out of helmets and say, screw it, let's redo basically all the main helmets we did as busts. EJ55 says, do you think we could get a Galactic Marine Republic gunship instead of the UTAT? And the short answer is no, I don't think that's going to happen. But I looked up this term, Galactic Marine Republic gunship, because it's not something I was familiar with. And it turns out it's not really anything real from the Star Wars universe. But like, holy crap, someone made a really cool custom version from, I think, Ahsoka's Starfighter here. I'm trying to figure out what came first here, the chicken or the egg, and I think it was the egg because the Wings of Megiddo is artwork by Jay, it looks like, and then someone made a modification of Ahsoka's Starfighter based on that, and like the build is okay. Obviously, if they did a bigger Lego set that was $150 sized, it would be really dope. This is just modifying something from existing parts, so it's not like the craziest looking thing. But then, this is what really sold me, is this colored picture of them, okay? You see like the prototype picture, you see the build, you're like, ah, whatever, who cares? And then you see this amazing colorful picture of the Galactic Marines with that little gunship build. It's got Coruscant Police gunship vibes, V-Wing vibes, and Republic gunship vibe. Like, it's got all the vibes. And then there's Galactic Marines sitting in the troop bay. That would be a really cool Lego set one day. If they were ever going to make like an extended, I know it's not, the crappy part about this is I'm so excited about it, and it has 0% chance of happening because it's literally just from a fan. But this is some of the coolest Star Wars fan art that I've seen, honestly. I hadn't really seen this before, so thanks for commenting and at least sending me down the rabbit hole. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that too, but not realistic, unfortunately. Tom Reese makes a pretty good point building off the possible disappointment here. He's saying making a $150 set with the Galactic Marines but no UTAT is like making a set with snowtroopers and no AT-AT. It just doesn't make sense. Now, technically, they have made sets with snowtroopers before that didn't have an AT-AT, but I like your analogy. It's a pretty good analogy. We should workshop it though and see if we can come up with something better. But yeah, it would be absolutely insane. It's the only time you ever see them. Like, how could they not put those two things together because it's a once in a lifetime type of set, you know, like you're not getting that again. Now, one more question on that UTAT topic before our other topics. Time Meddler said, that's the problem with hyping up rumors before they're even leaked. Like, y'all get mad when it doesn't happen, even though Lego never said they were doing it in the first place. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Lego deceived anyone here, but we're all fans here. We like to get excited about what's potentially coming in the future. And yeah, we're going to be upset if it's not the thing that we expected that happens. It's part of the fandom. Is it a big deal that that happens? Not really, but it does show that people do want this UTAT thing that Lego clearly didn't think people wanted, right? If they're not making it. Again, this is all hypothetical based on the rumor of the rumor. And I've said this before, but it's way more fun, at least for me as a Lego Star Wars fan, to just go on with the rumors as if they're true. And if they turn out to be not true, it sucks. But like, you know, what am I going to live my life saying every time? Like, there's a new rumor for a UCS Slave 1, except there might not be because it might be a fake rumor. And I'm not going to like qualify everything I ever say with that. Like, it's always in the back of your mind. But like, I don't know, most rumors end up being true and it's not a big deal. But every once in a while, you unfortunately get one like this that, and again, we're still not there. It's still a rumor of a rumor, but a rumor that might not be true. And for the record, I would be equally upset if there was no rumor and they just shock dropped a clone turbo tank or a Republic gunship or whatever it ends up being, or Octoptara Tridra, that's even less likely than a UTAT or a bridge. If they shock drop the set that has Commander Bakara, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Galactic Marines, and it wasn't a UTAT, right? That's been the expectation my entire life, is that if those things ever happened, it would come with this thing, and vice versa. And so to not have those two things happen would suck, whether there was a rumor preceding it or not. Spartan says, are you going to review or re-review one or both of the open UCS Death Stars and the run-up to the $1,000 versions release? Absolutely. I've got both of them out in my garage, sealed in the box, just waiting to be cracked open. I've got some new shelves on the way here soon that will be able to hold them, so I won't have to worry about storing them. And so I'm very excited to get into those Death Stars. I'm actually more excited to compare them because I've never had them both side by side. I know they're so similar, but there are some differences, and I'm excited to make a comparison video of just those two Death Stars, let alone with whatever this new Death Star ends up being. I'll probably do a video of all 4 Death Stars when this one comes out. That'd probably be the best comparison I could do, and then a separate video of the 2008 and 2016 ones. But I'm very excited about some Death Star content. I got to kind of get on that because the months are starting to fly by as we head towards October. Next, from a Lightsaber Lore, he says, just watch your Rebel U-Wing review, and I'm wondering why both versions of the set have the cockpit pop-up feature, but other Starfighter sets don't, at least that I can recall. Now, there's one Starfighter set that I remember having a cockpit pop-up feature. That would be Plo Koon Starfighter. Maybe not in the way that the U-Wings have, but it does have a feature that allows you to pop open that cockpit by pushing a button at the back. This would be a great question for the designer of the U-Wing. If I ever had the opportunity to ask that question, I would 1000% ask that question. But I would guess, again, this is just my guess, I don't have any info otherwise, that there's some sort of rule in Lego or something that if you have a piece that needs to be opened, you need to be able to do it like easily. And by easily, I mean like maybe with one finger. So you can't realistically open those U-Wing canopies with one finger because they're underneath a lip. And so you have to have another mechanism to open it for you. Kubasa says, I want to buy the UCS Jango Slave 1, but I don't know if I should buy the UCS one for arm-printed Jango or wait for the play scale and hope that Jango will be the same and save some money. What is your opinion on that? Well, I think it's pretty simple here. You should just wait until August, until the new Slave 1 comes out, and then you can decide whether you want to buy the UCS one or the smaller one based on whether you like the bigger model or the smaller model, and of course, the exclusivity of the Jango. And the newer, smaller Slave 1 is also, it's going to be $70. It's rumored to have another Kaminoan figure. Whether or not it's the same Kaminoan that we already have or a different one is yet to be seen, but the rumor, I believe, was that it would have some sort of Kaminoan minifig. So there's a little bit more at play, I think, than just Jango's arm printing. But the other rumor is that Jango in that smaller set will not have arm printing. But again, you should just wait until August to find out what the truth in that rumor is. As we've seen with the UTAT rumor, not every rumor ends up being true. Well, again, maybe. Nathan says, any news on the Master Builder series front? I've heard it might be an updated Ewok village with better trees, but fewer figures. And I don't know where you've heard that. I haven't really seen that, certainly from anywhere legitimate. I think the Master Builder series replacement really is the Death Star, more or less. It's going to be I think, wow, how would they classify it? They would classify it as a Master Builder series set, I think. So if it has an external shell, I think they call it a UCS set. Like, think of the Jabba sail barge. It's got the external shell, essentially, of the sail barge. Then it's got the interior fun. And then if it's a Death Star more akin to the 2008, 2016 Death Stars, then they would call it a Master Builder series set. as long as it doesn't have that outer shell that makes it like perfect for display. So I think this might, I hadn't even considered, end up actually being a Master Builder Series set, depending on how the set turns out. Because it's already rumored to have like 38 minifigs, which puts it in potential Master Builder Series category, dependent on what the actual build is. Basically, is it paneled or is it not? So we'll wait and see there. But the next Master Builder Series set is probably actually the Death Star. I know we've been calling it just $1,000 Death Star, UCS Death Star. It potentially could also be the MBS Death Star. Dingle Do says, hey Ryan, have you seen Lego is going public in the near future? And if they do, how much Lego stock are you going to buy? So I think everyone and their mother got by this April Fool's joke. I've gotten like dozens of questions about this in the past couple of weeks, and I thought it would go away, and people just keep asking me. So that was an April Fool's joke. I don't even know who by, but Lego is not going to become a publicly traded company. Certainly not this year or next year or whatever the April Fool's joke was. Would it be cool? Yeah. Would I buy some stock? Definitely. Although I wonder if that means I would literally have to do a formal disclosure anytime I made a review or something. That would be interesting too. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. Gavin says, wouldn't it be a great idea for Lego Star Wars to utilize the sound bricks Lego started making last year? Imagine if we had a set with sound effects or even the Imperial March or other song. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of gimmicky. I'm not a big, I haven't really used a sound brick, I guess, so maybe it's better than I think. The sorting hat makes sense for a sound brick. It's kind of cool that you can touch it and it tells you Gryffindor, whatever. But I don't see a lot of application for it in Star Wars. It's not something that I've thought deeply about. Maybe you could throw it in the Death Star and have it like be the laser sound. That might be cool. Maybe there are some applications for it that I haven't thought about. But generally, much like the light brick, I see it as a gimmick, and I think that it adds cost to a set that we don't need to add cost to. And I'd much rather have that budget go towards the minifig quality, which needs some budget. Darth says, you don't think they could release a set 7-8 months after a series like Tales of the Underworld? Lego made sets for The Mandalorian well after season 1 ended, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, no, like last week I mentioned that Tales of the Underworld, it would be ideal for them to release the set like day and day with the show and have it run for 7 or 8 months and then retire it as a short-lived set. And I say that because these feel like self-contained short series, short-run things that are only at the top of people's mind for their release time, and then it's kind of over. And yeah, they could definitely make sets on these short series anytime in the future. The 2003 Clone Wars is a great example. We didn't get a 2003 Clone Wars set until 2015. So could always happen anytime. That goes for basically anything. But I just think that it would be best served as a sort of short run, very timeline specific set when it comes to those miniseries for Disney Plus. Because outside of when they came out, I have not thought of the previous two. And I don't think people really like Tales of the Empire that much from what I remember. But anyway, Frenzy's Clip says, what ship do you think we could see join the midi-scale lineup? I would personally love to see the Pelta-class frigate or a Recusant-class light destroyer. Recusant. I got a couple off the top of my head here. The Looser Hulk from episode 1, I think is something a lot of people want to see as a bigger playset. It's just really never going to happen at a bigger scale. Much like something like the Acclimator is a great example there, where they're never going to make a bigger Acclimator, but the $50 midi-scale Acclimator, perfect. And so another one, kind of low-key, a midi-scale AT-AT would be absolutely fire in my opinion. That would be so cool, which we may actually effectively be getting when the Gingerbread AT-AT comes out later this year. So maybe that'll be pretty close to the idea. Well, no, I take that back. The AT-AT is not a starship, and it's not the midi-scale collection anymore. It's the starship collection, so it can't have, like, walking legs. But, things like an ATT or a Republic gunship would be cool, but, not really under the starship name. I'd kind of like to bet some money on Thrawn's Star Destroyer as a midi-scale set when that movie comes out, or potentially a Ghost midi-scale set, probably much more likely. Obviously, they've got the playset, which is nice, but they haven't done a midi-scale version of it, and they've done a midi-scale version of the Falcon. It turned out really nice. They have bigger playsets of the Falcon. Like, you can see the correlation between those sets. Like, they could very clearly make a midi-scale Ghost, and it would probably go over pretty well whenever, it's in a movie here soon, probably. The Razor Crest could absolutely be another one I could see sneaking in there, especially next year with the Mando movie dropping. Definitely. Slave 1, probably not, considering the playset was already $50. Like, it'd be the same size, basically. You'd just close off the canopy. I don't know. An Imperial Shuttle, I'd do a lot of things for a midi-scale Imperial Shuttle because they're doing the Kylo Ren's shuttle, so why not, basically? I think that could work out. I think the Imperial Shuttle, the Looser Hulk, and of course the Venator, which goes without saying at this point, would be a great midi-scale set that would go very nicely with that Invisible Hand from last year. So those are some of my top ideas, just top of mind. Vaka says, after watching your review of the new U-Wing and the old one, it seems that whenever a new movie or show comes out, the initial wave of sets has a much bigger budget than simple one-off show/movie sets like the U-Wing. I know there's more than one Andor set, but more like the Rogue One wave. Do you think there's any validity to this? If so, how great are you expecting the Mandalorian and Grogu sets to turn out? I actually have high hopes for a solid wave for once, and I think it's first time really to talk about that Mando Grogu wave for 2026. That's got to be coming, right? So I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if the designers were given like more budget for a big movie release where like Disney's like, hey, this matters, this is important to us, make it good. Like if you look at the Solo, the Rogue One, the episode 8, episode 7, episode 9 sets, especially that Solo, Rogue One, episode 8 kind of era, they clearly were putting more money into that. Those range troopers, those death troopers, those shore troopers, just beauty after beauty coming out in the minifig department. Most sets were like one banger after another. Some of the pricing questionable, like on Snoke's Throne Room, but generally a lot of good high quality stuff came out of that era. And so getting our first big movie back, I wonder if that will kind of pump it back up a little bit, you know, if they'll put some more money into it now that there's a big movie behind all of it. So we actually have some leaked 2026 information right here from Get Cooped, some set numbers starting with 75421, 75423, $70 and $100 respectively, and then just a bunch of other set numbers without prices. So, I mean, not the greatest set info, but you got to assume a good lot of these are going to end up being Mando movie sets, and there'll be a big Mando movie wave in here. I can't imagine they won't. I can't imagine it'll be like a, here's 2 sets. See ya. Maybe we'll do another couple next year. Like when a new Mandalorian season comes out, they do a couple sets, maybe a few sets, but I'm looking for 6 as kind of a bare minimum for this movie release. I think there was a leaked trailer out there quite a while ago now. Obviously anything in that's going to be a potential for a set, but I'm kind of waiting for a actual like real trailer to come out to get some real set ideas together, and then I'll probably do a video about it, or I'm sure people will ask about it, I'll talk about it in here. But yeah, that's it for this episode of Ask MandR. If you have a question or topic for the next episode, please leave it down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next one.